Hello and welcome to this video on how to geocode coordinates. When you geocode a coordinate, you are displaying the XY data. So we have XY data here in a table, and this is similar to any table that you might be given in advance that has latitude and longitude or any type of legitimate coordinates for either a geographic coordinate system or a projected coordinate system. Sometimes you may be given just the raw data as a set of coordinates, and you have to enter it into a table. In this case, it's already been entered into a table. Now, you might have just one coordinate like we have here, or you might have a series of coordinates. You could have 50 coordinates here, and the same method would be used to show those 50 coordinates on a map. And that's what geocoding is. You are showing coordinates that have been given to you in a text form or in a table form on a map. We'll have points show up on the map for your coordinates. So in this case, it's just a single coordinate, and this is where I'm going to show you how to do it. So I've opened up this coordinate in the table. You'll notice you have field 1 here, which is simply an identifier field. If we had 15 other coordinates here, you would see a different number here for each one of those. This is not necessarily required here, but often you will have another field here, or you could have fields here and here and here. You don't just have to have the latitude and longitude. You may have a full set of data here, addresses, well location, all sorts of descriptors here, but in this case we just have latitude and longitude. So I'm going to close this. It's already been saved once, so I'm going to close it without saving. And it's always a good idea if you have a table open that you're going to use in ArcMap to close it, because sometimes ArcMap will argue with you about that table. So what I do is I go to Add Data, and there it is, spillkillin.dbf. That was the table we were just looking at. And I added it, and of course it's not showing up because all that is a table. You can see that it's just a table by looking at this icon here. So right click here, and remember what I said, you're displaying the XY data when you geocode. The reason I'm using geocode as a term is because beyond the Esri products, other GIS products might not call it display XY data. It might just say geocode coordinate, but in this case we're displaying the XY data. And we click that, and it's going to ask you what the X field is, which is longitude. Longitude is X on the geographic coordinate system. The Y field will be latitude. This asks for its name. And since we're in the geographic coordinate system, it's automatically, right now it's trying to assign UTM here. But we don't want UTM. We want it to be geographic coordinate system. So we go in here and we edit. And we wait. And currently it's in a projected coordinate system. If it's in any other coordinate system other than geographic, it will show up as being projected. But we want it to be consistent with latitude and longitude, so that's going to be your geographic coordinate systems. So I open up the geographic coordinate system here. I scroll down to world, and I'm going to use WGS 1984 for my datum. Okay, so then this pops up. Just kind of checking in with you to make sure you know what you've got here, and say OK, and say OK again, and now you've got geographic coordinate system. So we're consistent. You know, it's good to have your latitude and longitude if that's your coordinates. It's good to have them in the geographic coordinate system. So let's say OK, and it shows up in the correct location. So that's okay. What we've done here is we have shown this to be our location that we would be working with right here. Now, if you may have a different set of coordinates, and of course that's going to show up in a different location. But in my example here, it shows up in this county right here, sort of in the middle of Texas. So I want you to see something though. You can work with this now to create a buffer if you need to. Let me pop it. I'm waiting for my geoprocessing window to pop down. There we go. Come on. There we go. See, all of these are are useful. So they're not grayed out. So you can use them for buffers and that sort of thing. However, if you wanted to do some other operations with it, there are certain things you can and you can't do. So you can't zoom to make it visible. There's some other things that are not available here. But if you want to make that a permanent file, you want to export the data, and if you have a geodatabase set up already, then you'll export it into the geodatabase. If not, then you'll export it as a shapefile. So there's what you would want to do. If you wanted to make a full-blown shapefile out of it, you can just export the data as a shapefile or export it into a geodatabase. And that's pretty simple. That's all you've got to do is bring in that table, tell it what you want for your latitude and longitude, or your XY, that is, and run it. Make sure you have a good coordinate system, the matching coordinate system for that data. If you had UTM coordinates, you would want the coordinate system that it imports into to be UTM. So it's that simple. Please direct any questions you have to the email address that I gave you. And if you have any questions, please do that. And I hope you enjoy your geocoding.